All right. What do you think was the biggest rivalry in monster truck history?
Oh, definitely the biggest rivalry has to be the Bigfoot and the Gravedigger situation. You got a young guy that started with nothing, worked his way up, and you got Bob Chandler, who was running a shop and worked his way up and had a name, and the Gravedigger came over. At the fact that they have those two participants at this event, and of course you deal with the independent side with the Gravedigger, and then the corporate side with Ford and the Bigfoot guys, and then you turn around and Dodge gets involved in this thing with the Hall brothers. So the thing, the rivalry, it would be a, Gravedigger, Bigfoot for sure. Second would be the Dodgers coming in and doing their thing, and then you get out there and so many people like so many different vehicles for so many different reasons, and then that's what makes the sport kind of interesting. Plus they get to the drivers and talk to them and then meet them, and it's a unique motorsport where we actually get people, we want people to get to the drivers. We don't try to keep them away.
What's your opinion on the direction the sport's headed?
The direction the sport's headed, I like it. I like to see them. Of course, you can run these trucks all year long. You got one major organization out there that has all the big buildings and everything, but they really put on a good show. I got to give them credit for that. And I don't see any negative things in the monster trucks. The only thing that's going to be negative if we get in a situation where somebody gets hurt real bad or a spectator gets hurt. Yeah, the only thing, that's the one thing that scares me is that. And believe me, this sport is so aware of safety, and they're trying to do everything they can. No matter if you're part of the in group or the out group or whatever, no matter who you are, everybody's thinking safety. And so with that in mind, I think it'll go forward.
What brought you back into calling monster trucks?
I had an opportunity. They called me with special events. I worked with them in the past, and I'm recuperating from some pretty serious illnesses, and they said, would you be interested? And let me tell you something, I was the happiest guy in the world that day. And concluding this deal in Lima, it's almost sad because I've had so much fun and enjoyed it, meeting guys like you and your crew, and it just kind of got me pumped up again, and I'm glad to be here. I'm going to be working at Bloomsburg, and I'm also going to be at Indy, and I hope I can do some more shows this year. And the one thing too, it's good to know you weren't forgotten, because I went through some pretty tough times, and to come back out and meet people such as yourself, and to say that I've affected their lives, that's a compliment to me in any way. So I wish you well in all you do, and I hope that things work out for me too.
Yeah, I hope they do too for me. You've had a lot of moments that you've got to call over the years. What stands out in your mind as the top one?
Would be the time that Bigfoot nosed over to Indianapolis. They knew they didn't have front drive in the truck. Jim Kramer was driving it. Tim Richmond, the NASCAR driver, was standing on the side. A lot of people don't know this. If you happen to watch this on TV, you'll see the film. But Tim Richmond was up in Indianapolis. He's the NASCAR driver that died of AIDS, and loved monster truck racing, was standing on the side. When Kramer flipped over, he went over and nosed over and didn't have the front wheels to pull him out, see, and he flipped it over. And at that time, boy, you didn't flip monster trucks. So when he flipped it over, the first guy out there was in a black cowboy jacket, a long duster jacket with a hat on. That was Tim Richmond. I'll never forget that, thinking Tim doesn't even know this guy from anything, and he's here, Johnny on the spot to help him. So I was there down at, thank you very much, I was down at Bristol when Gravedigger won his first race, not Bristol, Biloxi, Mississippi, when he won his first race. The old TNT circuit, a lot of good racing going on there with USA 1. So you can't really put your finger at any one thing, but those are things that stand out in my mind. I'm proud of the sport, but I was proud to be there when these things happen.
I figured you were going to say the time Andy Brass and Bigfoot 4 was taking on Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher at Louisville. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, I've got that on tape.
That was awesome, man. That track has been mowed down now. They
tore it down. Yeah. It's very sad they did that.
It's a shame.
Who gave you your big break?
A big break came from a guy named Billy Joe Miles, who used to own a company called TNT Motorsports in my hometown. I'd been back in Vietnam for about 10 years, like a lot of guys. I was going through some problems. I never had a problem with drugs or anything like that, but just depression and going through a divorce. And this businessman owned a company called TNT Motorsports. And they asked me if I would come and do something. At the time, monster trucks were brand new. They were just rolling truck and tractor pull. People thought that was almost a different deal. And to me, the blessing came from the Lord saying, hey, let's go give it these guys. So I think that I brought a little bit of enthusiasm that other people weren't aware of in the sport. And you can get excited about this stuff, and you should get excited about it. And that's where my break came from. But the guy gave me a call. I remember him a guy named Drake Burns actually made the phone call about 7 o'clock in the evening saying, "You know anything about tractor pulling?" Well, no, but I could sure learn. and that was the beginning, and I'm glad. Burns has passed away since then, but I talked to Billy Joe Miles a couple of weeks ago, and those guys with TNT still love pulling. They still love what they're doing. A lot of the guys I was originally in the sport with, their sons are now in the sport. Isn't that interesting how they go? Yeah, exactly. And I think that's interesting, and on the pulling side of it too. So you get, it's just kind of they're good people. I'll put it that way. I'm not afraid for my kids to be around anybody involved in this sport, because I know that you're going to be like a bunch of uncles to them. Like you guys. You keep an eye on my kids if they're here and whack them if they did something wrong.
I got experience with that, babysitting a couple of kids. So.